Welcome everyone to another episode of Travels and Wildlife Photography. I do so many shows I almost forgot which show it was. Welcome to Florida. We just got back from 2 weeks in Costa Rica. I say just, maybe like 4 days ago. Yeah. Something like that. And we've been taking it easy, having some downtime here. We're on Sanibel Island. It's the beach right back there. We haven't done really any photography since we got back, right?
Which is nice.
It's been real nice. Yeah, we just kind of needed to mellow out.
Yeah.
But we have 2 weeks of Costa Rica to go over with you. We've got a lot of shots. And
well, first let's give a little thank you to my mom's friend for letting us stay here
yes.
on Sanibel Island. Yep. We have a beautiful beachfront parking spot here, so
yeah.
Thankful for our friend Ty for letting us stay here.
It is really wonderful. Yeah, so we got a private spot to park and
yeah, really nice.
Nobody bothering us at all. Yeah, we got this beautiful setup to record the show. So I'm so grateful for our life all the time.
Yeah.
Really. Like this was like completely unexpected, you know?
Yeah.
Like we didn't know this was happening until about 2 days before we ended up over here.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how we do a lot of this stuff, just kind of travel around and see what happens.
Yeah.
But what was your experience? So I guess let's start here. Let's talk about why we're in Costa Rica again.
So I booked a yoga retreat last year for this year. While I was on a yoga teacher training in March of last year, I met these two awesome people. They have a company called Bigger Life Adventures. So if you're into yoga and want to do a yoga retreat.
Really nice people.
Yeah, they're awesome people. Zach and Carrie, they run awesome retreats. So I signed up to do a retreat with them. And that's why we were going back to Costa Rica.
And it ended up being in Monteverde,
which everybody, when we were in Costa Rica last year in January, everybody's like, oh, you guys should go to Monteverde for bird photography.
I've heard about it a lot. I really have, yeah.
Yeah, we had a bunch of messages of people saying that. So we thought, well, you might as well come and spend some time trying to do some photography.
Yes.
And we can make a trip out of it and do some time before the retreat, sometime after the retreat, and make a trip out of it.
And then last minute, not last minute, but a few months ago, halfway through the year, we invited my sister, so she joined us for some of it. And so that was fun. So yeah, we booked an Airbnb in Monteverde, or just out.
No, it was in Monteverde.
It was. Yeah, it was just outside of Santa Elena. And beautiful place. We planned on spending the entire time there. There was a bunch of, are they reserves, preserves?
I think it's reserves.
Reserves?
Yeah.
I always got it mixed up.
But it's a lot of, everything there is like privately owned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a bunch of these reserves there, and we figured we would just go to them and do a bunch of great photography. So we'll get started at looking at some of these photos here. Oops, wrong one. There we go. But we kind of realized somewhat quickly, I would say, that it wasn't the best. Right? It was another...
Yeah. Well, Costa Rica is a very dense jungle, and it's difficult to photograph the birds there because, okay, so this is a different experience, right? So this is outside of the Monteverde Cloud Forest. There is a Hummingbird Cafe is what it's called. And so they actually have some hummingbird feeders there. So that draws in the hummingbirds. And there's probably, I think there can be up to 10 species of hummingbird there. But in this case, I think we saw maybe 5 different species of hummingbird.
Something like that. This is a green crown brilliant. And
so we saw that.
Yeah. It was funny. There's hummingbird feeders all over.
Yeah.
I peeked around the corner of this one building, and right on the edge, sitting in the shade and a little bit of sun, was this guy just chilling there.
Yeah, and he was just resting for quite a few minutes.
I mean, a while.
Yeah, like 15 minutes at least.
At least, yeah. Just kept sitting there.
So you had like a photo shoot with him, and then even Stacy and I were having some coffee. We were having round 2 of coffee. And this is after we had a guided tour in the morning. And after that, it's a preview of what's to come later.
I thought I had another video showing from the phone that I shot of that guy. It showed how close I got to him, but I don't see it in here. So, here it is. There we go.
Oh,
that's not it. Yeah. So you were saying the coffee shop,
right? I don't know exactly what I was saying.
You guys went into the coffee shop, had coffee, came back out. He was still there.
Yeah.
And,
exactly.
Yeah, I shot this on the phone, so you can see how close I got to this little guy.
Well, I think, they're super habituated to humans at this coffee shop. Obviously, there's tourists there just all day long.
Yeah, that's totally what it was. So I shot this on the phone, just like holding the phone right up to the little guy.
And normally hummingbirds are not that friendly. They're skittish.
Not like that,
and
yeah.
you're not going to get that close to them. So this is like a very abnormal photographic situation for hummingbirds. They're just coming into the feeders, and they're totally used to humans because they see humans all day, every day.
Yeah.
So it's almost like too easy, and it's kind of like, and it's not ideal. It's a very small space. It's a
people all over the place.
And
everybody else, for the most part, there's a handful of other photographers with cameras with long lenses,
and then otherwise it's just like people, and it's great. It's a great way for people to see the hummingbirds that otherwise wouldn't have the chance to see them, because it's not like you're seeing them. Well, you might see them sporadically throughout the cloud forest, but it's rare that you're seeing the hummingbird. You'll hear them in the cloud forest walking around, but you're not just seeing them all over like this close up.
And most of the time, all the other people there are there with their phones, so they're walking right up to the feeders, right up into that space,
and
like holding their phones.
They're
so they're just they're used to it, but they're also kind of like photographically in the way of us trying to get some cool shots.
It's not great for photography, but either way, feeder setup.
It's not ideal for wild feeder or
wildlife photography. Yeah, I mean it's not like exciting. Like it's not like it's just like, okay, after taking a few photos, it's just kind of like, okay, this is too easy. This is just and it just like doesn't feel right. I don't know. It's just like kind of weird, It's just like, it's not like wildlife photography to me. It's
it didn't feel weird to me. It just felt touristy.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
It's just, and I will say, because that was after a day of walking through the cloud forest, struggling hard to get any kind of decent photos.
Sure.
And
so it's like easy
to come back and just kind of have like easy get some shots of these cool species.
Yeah.
I'm okay with mixing that in sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
But it's not what I want to do the entire time for sure.
And of course, like what you want to do either isn't just like struggling and taking photos like this up in the cloud forest either,
it's like what all the rest of it
which is like most of the rest of it. Yeah. So, and you can still find ways to get creative. Like obviously these guys aren't on the feeders. They do perch within the, nearby jungle. Yeah.
Yep,
so
totally. And I really enjoyed, I think the thing, here you go. Here's a great shot, right? That's me with the phone. And so you can see it's just right next to this ratty building and not the best, right? But with some creative thinking and moving around and playing, tons of variety.
Yeah.
Black backgrounds, green backgrounds,
right.
This is the building in the background,
right.
Shooting through leaves into the foreground and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then also with a bird like this, just like
they show like just the variety
of changes.
Like how they flare their colors and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, so I got,
a portfolio of images of this one species.
Totally,
yeah. Totally.
And don't mind us if we're swinging and waving. There's gnats out here all the time
sorry.
in my ears and my nose and everything. So, just a few more hummingbirds around that spot. There's a violet saberwing. We both shot that. I think this one's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice background there.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll bring settings up too, just so everybody can see what we're shooting. So I guess we'll talk about this a little bit too, because I think it's sort of helpful for everybody to know. Gear-wise, this is the first time I've never brought my 400-2.8 on like a big trip somewhere. I opted out last minute.
And you brought the Z6 III.
And I didn't bring the Z9 either, I was just like, you know what? I knew we were going to be hiking around a lot.
Right.
And putting in a lot of time moving and that kind of thing. And I was just like, I don't want to drag that heavy stuff around.
Yeah.
And I also knew from last year's experience in the jungle that I was going to want a lot of focal length for a lot of stuff, because I remember being like, there's very, very, very few opportunities to do like wide scenic shots. Because the jungle's just a mess.
Yeah.
And I talked about this on the podcast with Brad. We're probably actually going to do an audio podcast talking about this trip as well. So if you haven't listened to them, you can listen to more there. But yeah, it's just my experience in the jungle is like, it's beautiful to look at. Like you go out and you look at it with your eyes and you're like, this is gorgeous. But if you translate that into photography terms, it's just a mess. There's just stuff all over the place.
Yeah.
There's just tangle everywhere. A lot of the birds love to be high in the canopy, even the ones that are lower. It is dark, but I hear that all the time too, is like a big kind of, I feel like, obstacle to deal with in like anywhere tropical is like the jungle being so dark. And I feel like I experienced that a few times. There are places where you're under the canopy and it's dark, but I don't know. It didn't seem any different than shooting under a forest canopy up here in the States.
Right.
It was just as dark in the morning. Like once it gets brighter out, then it's fine. But that's the thing. Once it gets brighter out, if it's sunny, which it was sunny a lot for us because it was the dry season.
Right.
It's super challenging lighting. It's just kind of a mess of bright hot spot shadows to deal with.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it is dark under the canopy, but I'm saying this because I wanted a lot of focal length. I brought the 100 to 400 as my main lens, which is 5.6 minimum aperture at 400 millimeter.
Right.
And then I threw a teleconverter in for 80% of the time.
Right.
So I was at an f8 lens.
Yeah.
Which is so not fast,
right.
you know? And there was only a handful of times where I felt like I really had to drop the shutter speed to manage the ISO. Every other time it was like, this is fine.
Yeah.
So, of course, 2.8 lens is better. Yeah, of course. It's more light,
but then
it's faster,
it's also
sharper.
Heavier.
Yeah, it's just much more cumbersome to drag around the jungle.
Yeah, it's
all
so
the time.
much heavier than like the 1 to 4.
And I have to say, for anybody going, if you're like worried about not having a fast lens, if you have a 5.6, a 6.3, a 7.1, or an f8 minimum aperture lens, I think you're going to be okay. As long as you're comfortable shooting slower shutter speeds.
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
I mean, that's probably a part of it. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that because that was kind of like a standout thing I noticed is like I've always heard, oh, the jungle is so dark under the canopy. And I just didn't really feel like that was a big struggling point for us during, or at least for me, during most of the time.
Yeah.
So, and here's a great example. Like here's this, some kind of wood wren. Yeah, let's see. White-breasted wood wren. Oh, I did have wood wren in there.
Oh my gosh, did you already
tag them?
Yeah.
Keyword? Like half of them.
Okay.
So look, 100th of a second at 5.6 gives you 1250 ISO. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like 1250 ISO is like nothing on these cameras, you know?
Yeah.
And 100th of a second is plenty to shoot these guys sharp, you know?
So, for you.
Yeah, well anyway, I mean look, there's like a bunch of this, like 1600 ISO, slate-throated red star?
I don't know.
Collared red star. Oh, I got it mixed up. That's right.
Jeez.
I
mean, like, he was super cute.
Yeah, he was. Look at the pose.
Yeah.
I love the pose.
Yeah. So I called these all yesterday, but I figured I didn't have to include them because I knew Ray would include them. So.
Yeah, just some scenes. There's my sister joining us on the trip. I don't even remember where.
I think this was LT Gray, wasn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, we did this hike that had like a bunch of hanging bridges, and it was super fun.
Yeah, and so I think we have some videos of us there, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not.
Okay.
Or it's just not showing all the videos. I don't know. Then this was in
our house,
in our yard. Yeah. These yellow-faced grass quits were really, really cool, and this tree was really, really neat.
Yeah, and you had said, Ray was like, "Oh, I've always wanted to get something on this." Tree, and
because I've seen these in Florida.
Yeah.
These types of trees. I don't think they're native here. I don't know if they're native there. You know?
I don't know.
Yeah. It is going to be a bit of a blur as far as like
timeline,
where everything is and all of that stuff. Yeah.
So there's LT Gray.
Yep. Yeah. Here's some of the.
For sure.
Yeah. Walking around there. There's Emily with a giant waterfall. It was beautiful there.
Yeah, it was really nice.
We had our first toucanet. It's emerald crowned, maybe? It'll be coming up. Maybe I have them tagged. We'll see. It's emerald something.
Toucanet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was fun. I actually shot this one like 10th of a second handheld.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got this collared Trogon.
That's
I think you saw it. I mean, I know it's not your shot, but I think, didn't you see it? Or maybe Stacy saw it.
I think Stacy saw it.
As we were walking along this river. She was spotting stuff left and right.
She was really good.
She really was, yeah. There's after a dip. She was the only one to take the horse ride out.
Yep.
We both opted for the car ride out. So this whole place, it was like this, a bunch of waterfalls, hanging bridges, long hike, and it was almost all downhill, and then a little uphill on the way out, and then there was a big uphill after that that you could either hike out, ride out like Stacy did, or take the car out.
And then, so these Kiskadee-esque things. Maybe that is a Kiskadee.
I think this
don't
one
know.
was.
Yeah. And so it was eating these, I think it's
Right
like
here.
a version of
these
an
little...
avocado.
Yep.
Like I'm not going to say it right. A guacatilla or something.
I do have a video of this guy. Whoops.
And so then some emojis.
And some emojis. Oh,
And so the turns out the toucanets eat them too. And so we were there because you had seen the Kiskadees eating them.
He's like checking them out.
And turns out the toucanets eat them too. So that was really cool.
Yeah, let's see if we had any other videos from the trip there. Doesn't look like it. Looks like everything else is just mostly wildlife.
So yeah, that was pretty cool.
We started that trip with some photos of the toucanet.
Yeah, like up in a tree, like
Just
terrible
super
shots.
media. There was 3 of them, I think, 2 or 3.
Yeah,
bouncing
like
around.
bouncing around this area, like right at the start of the trail.
It was our first time seeing them, so we were really excited.
Yeah, we were super excited. We're like shooting away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we went back to that area thinking like, oh, we could see him again, and we did hear him, and then we go down to like, oh, we were gonna go to the bathroom before we left, and then we saw those Kiskadee again.
Yeah.
And then turns out like Stacy goes to the bathroom, and we see the toucanet eating these little mini avocados.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we
we're
got
like,
these
oh my
right
God,
before
Stacy.
that.
Yeah.
That the lesser violet ear
Yeah.
was in a really good spot. That one's your shot. Yeah, I shot against the white building, and then you shot just like found a nice green background.
Yeah, we were in a totally different
vibe to the shots, but
yeah,
each one working out well. Yeah, and then the Kiskadees out there, and then there we go, toucanet right in there.
Yeah,
getting that. I mean,
what?
I would have loved for like more space in the background and stuff like that, but I feel like it totally works, in there. I think that one's your shot, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the 400-4.5. And then, there's one I managed mixed in there. And I think, so this is where I had the teleconverter. And this is a great example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like f8.
It's an f8 lens, but it's still giving like basically like very similar background to what we're getting here, because I'm also at 560 millimeter,
Yeah.
Now, settings are a little bit different, Yeah,
I had 2,000 of a second, like what?
Yeah, but look at that. And your ISO is about the same as what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
So that's the difference,
But
right?
2,000 of a second is like not necessary.
Yeah, but my point is...
like my ISO is higher, right?
I had to be all the way down to 2/50th of a second to get roughly the same ISO as you were at 4.5.
Shows you how much I know about settings.
I mean, your ISO is still nice and like completely fine, you know what I mean? You were just doing aperture priority, so...
yeah.
That one's really nice. Oh, I love that one, Em.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love that little peek out like that. It's
Yeah.
such a... Oh, wait, let's see. Did I... Oh, I didn't tag him yet.
Oh,
okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's really not that important.
It is not. I was just wondering if I could get the full name there. It's fun trying to guess them. These were in the yard of where the place we stayed. So we had an Airbnb that was really, really nice.
And it was called Casa Matmat.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
And it lived up to the name.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I heard him all the time.
All the time.
Whoop,
yeah.
whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah. In the beginning, I was like, what are these dogs far off like barking?
Yeah.
And then I learned and realized that it was these Matmats, these Lessons Matmat, which are just, I mean,
really pretty.
The eye makeup on these guys is insane.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So this was an example, I guess, of where...
I mean, ISO 9000, you wouldn't guess.
The ISO was getting pushed.
Yeah, but like,
but
I don't know, looks great.
Yeah, it's fine, Keel billed toucans in the yard as well. This is in the tree, right from the... I think we were shooting these from the deck or, the balcony at the place. So it was surrounded by natural jungle and everything. It was a real private place, but it was within walking distance, like a 15-minute walk to some restaurants.
Yeah.
And the 5-minute drive into town where there was everything you need, shops, restaurants, all that stuff. But yet we were outside of it, felt private, quiet.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Quiet, except
for every, like 5 a.m. were these, what are they, brown jays?
Brown jays.
Oh my gosh. Without fail, 5 a.m. they would wake us up. Yeah.
So freaking loud.
So loud, like without fail.
Just
5 a.m. to 5:10.
They sounded like they were in the house. They were so loud. There was no way you were sleeping through it.
Yeah.
So that certainly got us on a schedule.
Yeah.
After a while. We were on an early morning schedule. You weren't sleeping through it.
No.
It was just impossible.
You're up.
Yeah. So,
and at sunrise there was like I don't know, 5:40 or something. So it wasn't like...
It was kind of early. I don't know that we...
As opposed to 7:30 here. It's so weird right now. like with the daylight savings. 7:30 is sunrise.
I know.
It's
It is
weird.
wild.
It's like 2 hours later.
The first reserve we went to was the Monteverde Cloud Forest one, like
Mm-hmm.
the big main one that's named for that. Do you remember, did we go to another one before we went to Curicancha? This is Curicancha.
I think that was the second one we went to.
I think that was the second one we went to. So I don't know what we did. We did that El Tigre in between. That's right.
Yeah.
Which was about a half hour, 40-minute drive north of where we were staying. But then Curicancha, honestly,
like
could
5
We
minutes.
could have
Yeah.
walked to it. You know? So that was really convenient. Got this, I think it's a... Oh, wait. I want to get it. It's a something collared
strange
sparrow.
with this.
Rufous collared sparrow? Oh, I don't have them tagged, but I think that's what it is. But this was another one of these examples where I think that first day we went there, we did get to see the infamous, what's the bird everybody's after there?
Oh, Quetzal. Well,
resplendent
we
Quetzal.
saw it the first day.
We saw it the first day with our
Yeah,
guide. That was the only time we hired a guide, was the first day in the Monteverde Cloud Forest. The rest of it we all did self-guided.
Yeah. We
Then
didn't
we
even
went-
include our picture of the Quetzal because it's so
They're
good.
so bad, yeah. Then we went to Curicancha the next day.
Saw it there
or
as well.
2 days later.
It was really
Saw it-
worse viewing.
Same thing, just
Yeah.
horrible there. And that's it. There's like, I mean, crowds and guides like all
like
around.
50 people at Curicancha, like just
All for
huddled,
this
like
Quetzal.
crazy. And it was just like, I don't know, you couldn't even see the head really of it
You
there.
could barely see the back through
You
a
could
scope.
barely, yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
But, you know, people just want to see it.
They really just do. And so, like, photographically, I mean, it was cool to see it. It's neat
Yeah.
to say we saw it.
It was cool to see it.
But there is nothing we would ever, honestly, outside of just keeping it for a record of, yeah, I saw this on this date at this place.
Yeah.
That's all that shot was worth.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's just like back and tail feathers. You had one that showed him a little decent from your third time seeing one on
No,
your...
I think it was better the first time.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had video that was pretty good.
No.
But
I
anyway,
posted a video that was awful, but anyway.
these are hummingbirds that are just like out and about.
No,
We
I
actually
think this
saw-
was, that was before.
did we go back again?
We went to the
You're right.
Hummingbird
We went back after that.
Cafe right before my retreat because we had some time to kill.
Yep.
So we went back one more time. I don't know if you and Stacy went again.
We never did, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. These birds are sitting on the feeder. That's the one nice thing about the 100 to 400. It focuses close.
Yeah,
And with the teleconverter, even closer crop.
Yeah.
And so I was able to shoot these guys like basically headshots. I mean, like the detail on this, you know,
crazy.
pretty incredible on these guys. So that was really fun to do.
Yeah, I mean, it is beautiful.
They're actually sitting right on the feeder. I was like, well, if they're that friendly.
Yeah.
Because they see everybody walking up with the phone. I'm like, I'll just do it with my camera and
Yeah.
just get headshots so you can't
Yeah.
tell they're sitting on a feeder, you know. Played around with some out of focus stuff, which I thought was kind of fun and experimental. These aren't my favorite. I have some later that I think worked a little bit better. But trust me, it was on purpose. I swear.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what gave you the idea
It was, actually.
to do it later on.
Yeah, it was. There were some accidental ones, and we'll talk about this later when we get to that portion of the show where we start getting a lot more experimental, you and I in the Hummingbird Gardens. And then, yeah, let's see if there
That's
was...
where you dropped me off at the retreat.
It is. Emily got to her retreat, so let me see if there was any other videos of anything before that.
The monkeys on the roof?
I have to show this one. Yeah, we did have the monkeys on the roof. This was
Oh.
on our first long hike in
Yeah.
the Monteverde Cloud Forest, and I gotta say, what a trooper. It was my first time ever seeing a dung beetle actually rolling some dung. And I think there's going to be a slow motion portion here when he gets it up over there. It's really neat to see how they like get it rolling, look, and then they cling to it and just go with
They
it.
just go under it. They just get rolled
They
under
just
the dung.
Get tumbled in with it. It was really, really funny to watch. And then there was the, we did have white-faced capuchins that
In the yard
came-
multiple times.
They scared the crap out of
The
us
first time. Yeah. We were just in the room and heard this loud, just like, it felt like the house was falling over.
Because he jumped on the roof.
Yeah.
And it's a thin roof. And
We're
we were
just
up
like,
top. We're
what
like,
the
what's
heck?
going on? We go out and Stacy's yelling. She's like, monkeys!
Monkeys!
Yeah, so there he is on the roof. That was kind of cool.
And you guys saw them at least
We
once
had-
more.
Yeah, I think once or twice. We had pretty good experiences with them
Yeah.
after that. One of the
We
first
also had
times,
the agoutis.
the agoutis were in the yard. They were super
Yeah.
cute. This was on our first hike as well. The
Kawadi.
Thank you. I just like this guy with him like scratching like that.
So
just
cute.
Look at his snout all smushed to the side and everything.
Yeah.
They're so freaking cute.
They are cute.
And generally super friendly there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, don't go up and pet one.
No, but I mean like not
Habituated
skittish.
to
Like they're
humans.
okay with being close, you know. Let's see if we have any other videos that I wanted to show at that point. I think that's about it for there. So back to the photo show. So yeah, we dropped you off for your retreat. Do you want to share anything about that?
I mean, well, I mean that's more of just like
This is travels and wildlife.
It was a wonder. If you're interested in yoga, it's a wonderful retreat.
Yeah.
We did yoga twice a day.
How long were you there?
I think it's 6 nights.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. So we also went into the cloud forest.
You got to do some really nice excursions, right?
We climbed trees.
Yes.
Which barefoot, strangler fig trees, which then prompted me to want to go back with you and climb trees. So we did that as well. So we'll share some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's how you found out about that, which was really cool.
Yeah.
You guys did some nice outings to like rivers and just kind of do some swimming.
Nearby river. I think it was like the San Luis River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like
wonderful
it was like
plant-based food, wonderful community. Yeah, just really great overall time. We had a temescal.
What's that?
It's like a sweat lodge.
Okay.
So really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a lot of different experiences, and it's really cool.
Ceremony.
It wasn't just yoga only. Like they put together a hell of a retreat, showed you the place, like all the stuff around there. You did some really good excursions. You did some to the same places we had already been. You know, you went to the Monteverde Cloud Forest, and then you found out about the tree climbing. On the property was this really cool.
Oh, the tree net. Which you got to see.
Yeah, climbing up into that. So then this is going to be some photography. It was just me and my sister. We went to, I can't remember the name of it. It was another cloud forest about 40 minutes north of where we were staying, just to try and mix it up. It was just one of the other ones that sounded nice. And it was beautiful. It was like probably, I would say, arguably one of the most beautiful ones we walked through. It was just so lush and everything. But we walked around for 3-4 hours maybe, something like that. Maybe 3.
Tough time with wildlife.
I mean, we didn't see a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So like here's a wood creeper. I just like this because of the ferns. This guy was really good. I think it was a tufted flycatcher, something like that.
Tufted, yes.
And I got a really cool video of it. I have shared it already.
Oh, yeah.
But this guy was just feeding over and over again on this. And like, just check out this behavior as he flies. Hopefully this thing goes out of the way. There we go. Look at this. I got him all in slow motion. He grabbed an insect and then flipped down. Like he was just doing this over and over again. So I thought that was like just really, really neat to be able to see. And I really enjoyed shooting with this slow motion of the Z6 III.
Right, yeah, because it's like extra slow.
It does 240 frames a second, so it's 8 times slow motion, whereas our Z8 and Z9 only do 4 times slow motion at 120 frames a second. And so, while that's still pretty good, 4 times slow motion is nice. There's a big difference, like cutting it in half yet again, basically, you know, going down to 8 times slow motion. And the only downside is it only shoots 1080 there. So, you know, getting technical about this stuff. So it doesn't shoot 4K video with that, whereas our cameras, the Z8 and Z9, do 4K 120, so 4K slow motion video, which lets you crop a little bit more, have a little bit more detail. So, normally with those cameras, I would always shoot video just horizontal, and if I want the vertical for the thing, I can crop it in. Plus, our cameras, they're so high resolution, the Z8 and Z9, you can do, I want to say, don't quote me on this, but roughly a 1.5 crop factor and still get the same 4K 120 because they're so high resolution sensors. They let you do a punched in version, which allows you to do like a nice variety of like different croppings and stuff with video. And that's one of my favorite things to do with those cameras is actually, if something's really far away and it's just too far for a still photo that's any good, you do the punched in video, it's already 4K, then I can crop in even further to do, like to share it on a reel, which is only 1080 on Instagram anyway. And so you get like, I mean, a ton of cropping power out of it and you can shoot something kind of cool really, really far away. This one doesn't do any of that, but it gives me the 240, which is extra slow. The only thing I have to say I really can't stand about it is
the vertical.
I'm shooting vertical video, so I'm like trying to hold steady like this. It's not easy. Thankfully, it's really slow motion, So that helps smooth it out naturally, you know? But like just sitting there for a while like this is just so much more annoying than sitting here like this. I do love the Z9 for that vertical shutter grip capability. So anyway, got some still shots of this guy as well. Me and Stacy climbed up to the top of one of these platforms, these Canopy platforms. So there's the view from up there. It was really, really stunning. Really enjoyed that. And then I don't know what happened there. Just a great photo. I guess Lightroom's deciding to catch up here, so we'll give it a second. But yeah, overall, we didn't have a ton of photographic opportunities. It was like, this was truly just walking through the jungle, waiting to like just see what you see.
Right.
It was generally quiet. There was a handful of areas where we saw some stuff, but for the most part, it's quiet. This was a really fun experience. So we just happened to be walking by this one trail, and it's like at an intersection when there's a guide. We just went there self-guided.
Right.
There's a guide with like a group of, I don't know, 10 people, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, everybody be quiet. And he's got a flashlight. He's like, and I knew as soon as he had that, and he had a little twig.
Yeah, we had seen that in Corcovado.
We saw that last year. And so I assumed that's what was going to happen.
Yeah.
He was going to lure a tarantula out with this. So we watched him do it, and it was a nice sized tarantula, like way bigger than what you and I saw last year, and more colorful. I don't know, just a different species, I guess. And so we watched it from the side. We were like, all right, this is cool. We just kind of like scooted in like we were part of the thing there, and just watched it from the edge. And it came out just like a little bit, just enough so you could see it. But he had this like blazing flashlight on it, like this super bright flashlight on it.
Maybe just so the group could see it.
I think so the group could see it, but it's also like, I don't know if that had anything to do with scaring it, or there's also a big group of people around. So it scurries back in real quick. It just came out just enough for everybody to see it. And we go on our way, and he's back there, this guy talking about it. So we did it, the loop of that trail took us up to that viewing platform.
Right.
And then we came back down, and we were like, we kept saying, we got to go back and try. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, I know the area it is, but like, there's probably holes all over this thing. I don't know how we're going to find it. And then what are the odds that it's going to come out again, right? Well, guys, we did great. We found it right away. It was very obvious because this tarantula, I guess, has like a little bit of dirt coming out of the hole. And like, you can kind of see like that's the hole right back there. And since this was the second time I had witnessed it, I kind of knew what to do. So I had grabbed this little thing right there and just put it in there a little bit. And I think what our first guide told us, which I didn't hear this guy.
Kind of, or
you tap around, and they're hunting based on vibration.
Yeah.
So they feel some vibration, they come out to try and see if there's something there.
Right.
And so anyway, this guy, he like basically latched onto the thing.
Oh, wow.
Not like really, but he was like, I could feel the weight.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he came all the way. I was like, whoa. And then he was so big. We were like, oh my gosh, he's like right there. Yeah. It was pretty wild. And we got such a great look at it. So that was kind of a fun little experience.
Yeah.
I have to say though, like it was cool for us to be able to do that and see it. But this poor tarantula.
Oh, like just getting bothered all the time?
He's probably getting that every day with these guides over and over again, you know? I mean, they're not there guiding all the time, and they're doing it just... I know. That's what I know. I did. So I'm saying, like, I felt a little bad about that, but he did just kind of walk out and go right back in, so I don't think it was too much of an energy waste or anything like that. Stacy and I back at the property getting the agouti, whatever you say.
I think it's agouti.
Agouti, yeah. And then Stacy and I went back to Curry Concha one last time, try and see if we could get the Quetzal again. Had some more of the coatis there, and we concentrated on the beginning. We found this one spot with a bunch of this, is it porterweed, I think it's called?
Yeah, that the hummingbirds just like.
Hummingbirds just love. And it was a clear sunny day. We had shade on those plants, but this breeze is so nice right now. Keeping the bugs away, it feels really good. Light hitting the background, but shade on the plants there.
Yeah.
And we decided we were just going to camp out there because from where it was, we could actually see over to where the avocado tree was for the Quetzal, and we could watch people walking by there.
Oh, so you could
guides
see
and groups and stuff like that, and you could see them all look, but you could tell if something was happening or not. So we could scout from where we were, but keep shooting, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And so. But the classic thing that happens there, like I feel like we got some great shots there. The lighting was really fun.
Yeah.
I love this one. And this was where I got these accidental shots that kind of clued me into what I want to do. And this was kind of one of them. which was
kind of like more the motion.
the motion, right? I was
Yeah.
shooting a slower shutter speed just to keep the ISO down a little bit, and plus I kind of already enjoyed like movement in these photos for hummingbirds. But I don't know if it was that one or here. This is one. This is the one that did it.
Yeah, well,
right?
you're shooting 30th.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if I was experimenting with it then or if it clued me in then. I don't remember. There was some kind of accidental shot at one point that I got something like this where the flower was sharp and the bird was blurred.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an awesome concept.
Yeah.
It's how we see these hummingbirds. I'd love to explore that further.
Yeah.
You know? And so I started purposefully, I guess, trying to shoot some like that. And then the other one I wanted to try was like higher shutter speed or reasonable shutter speed.
Yeah.
I wanted to try like a flower in focus with the bird out of focus in the background, but that just never materialized. These things move so freaking fast.
Yeah.
It's like just absurd. So these were all shot while we were waiting. This was actually right by the avocado tree while we were waiting for that. There was this really pretty flower
that
there
is a pretty flower.
that it came in. The thing never showed, at least not while we were there. We got tired and bored of it. We're like, whatever. We're only going to wait so long for this. Plus, the sun had finally started hitting the tree and the light was just atrocious. So I'm like, even if it shows up now, it's going to be an awful photo anyway.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Yeah.
We went out and did one other hike, and I'm so glad we did because we ended up out at this one spot. We headed toward this thing where on the map it was just like a viewing area or like a nice view or whatever. And it did. It came out to this cliff edge.
Okay.
And this is where, let me get it right, slate-throated red star. There we go.
Okay. All right, birder.
This is where they were. There was a bunch of them there, but this one particular one just kept hitting the same branch. He would feed off of it like a flycatcher.
Okay.
Fly up, grab an insect, which is so red star. Like that's how we always see American red starts feeding. So it's really neat to see a different species of red start, but it still behaves the same way as what I'm used to seeing with certain species. So anyway, he kept hitting it, and this tree was so pretty. And this is one of my favorite shots, I think. Maybe, I don't know, of the trip, but definitely like a top one.
Yeah.
Just like compositionally, I love the plant.
Yeah.
It was really pretty. I was able to actually make a composition happen
instead
of just being like anything,
Yeah,
get any kind of crappy shot through all the mess, you know.
Yeah.
It was more open and it was repeatable. And it wasn't with a guide. We found it on our own. We didn't manipulate anything. There was no playback or nothing. This was just like as we experienced it, just watching this behavior of it hunting and feeding over and over again. So that was really cool. Had a beautiful sunset that night, and then Stacy left.
Oh, okay.
I had a couple days on my own.
Yeah.
I went to another reserve, like maybe 20 minutes away. Yeah, it was about 10 minutes from where you were staying at your retreat. And of course, I didn't know, right? But that's the first place we encountered. They actually had a feeder setup.
Yeah.
And so this is all shot on a feeder setup, me trying to make it look not like a feeder setup.
Yeah.
But I felt so bad because it was the day after Stacy left.
Oh,
and it would have been a great
like,
opportunity for her to see a lot of these species, get some good shots that were consistent. You know what I mean? Because like that's the one thing the feeder does.
Yeah.
Is it makes it kind of easy, even just to see this stuff.
Yeah.
You know? We had never seen one of the Montezuma apendulas up until then. You know? And so, and then
and the honey creeper.
There was a honey creeper there. So it's like, what a bummer. I found it the next day because like,
that would have been good for her.
it would have been nice to mix it in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
just for her to see these.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like the what is it, Euphonia?
Euphonia, yeah. I mean, they're beautiful. So yeah, there's like a banana like right here, shoved on a stem. You know, like that's the kind of stuff that's happening. Same thing with this honey creeper. He just got chased off of the banana by another bird. You know, so like that's why they were there.
Yeah. Oh, and then you came for a visit.
And I came for a visit right after one of those things. We went up in the tree net. So that's what that is. We do have a video of you coming up into that, so people can kind of see what that looked like.
So excited to go in the tree net.
It's a little bit of work, isn't it?
It was.
It was such a cool thing, though.
Yeah.
Hell of a view up there.
Yeah. So there were the similar people who help us climb the trees were people who created the tree net.
Yeah, and look at this. Like, we're up there.
Yeah. Well, we were up in a tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were up in the tree.
And up on the mountainside. Like, the view was incredible up there.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was just so buggy, so we didn't last long.
At first, it wasn't.
Yeah. But that was a cool experience. It really was. So I really enjoyed that. I went back to that feeder place again just to see if I could do a little bit more around the area. So got these woodpeckers that morning. They actually were working on that nest hole. I don't know if they had an active nest going. some more
Yeah, I
grass
feel like we were
quits.
right before all the nesting stuff.
Yeah.
Because like if we were maybe a few weeks later, and then the Quetzals and stuff would have been on the nest.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We heard about some being on this in other areas, so I
Yeah.
think maybe different areas they kind of have different seasonality.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah.
I think this is a rufous-tailed
Yeah,
hummingbird.
looks like it.
Yeah, but he was perched in a great spot. Again, this is all around that feeder setup
Oh,
at
really?
this place. But he was just feeding on the
I was going to say, it
porter
looks
weed.
like those
yeah,
porter
that's
weed.
all. They had some of that right there.
Yeah.
So I took advantage of that. I love me these grass quits.
Yeah,
They're cute little
very
birds.
cute.
Yeah. And so this one I had walked off into a field to spend some time with him. And then I saw this bird. It was so cool. I saw this bird and I was like, man, that thing looks just like a common yellowthroat, but you know, different.
Yeah, yeah.
Behaving the same way,
Yeah.
in the same habitat. And it's a gray-crowned, I
Oh.
think. I don't have that one labeled, but yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a gray-crowned yellowthroat or
Okay.
something like that, gray-crested yellowthroat. But similar face mask, you know?
Yeah.
It was just, it's so cool when you travel to really farther away places. Especially even outside the U.S., but it happens even within the U.S. To me, it's just neat to see.
Like a cousin species.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
similar. It reminds you of things. It even
Yeah.
behaves the same way. Same thing with the red star. It's like
Yeah.
they're behaving the same way, but they're completely different species,
Yeah.
you know? But just related, and not just related in looks, but related in behavior
Yeah.
and habitat and feeding styles and all that
Right.
stuff. It's just, it makes sense
Yeah.
that there's going to be a version of that everywhere that takes advantage of all the different habitats and ways of feeding.
Yeah.
And then I get like some of the closest and clearest hummingbird shots of the entire trip.
Oh.
And it's a ruby-throated hummingbird,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
one species
The
you
one
can get here
species we have. Yeah,
on
yeah.
the east coast of the U.S.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. So, and then
Oh, this is when we went climbing.
yeah. So do you want to tell a little bit more about that?
What do you want me to say?
Well, just who it was and how we got there.
Okay, so it's this local company in Monteverde, Palo Vivo, and they
They own that property. They have that farm.
they have a farm, a coffee farm in Monteverde, and they work with the community there, mostly educating the kids and everything about the environment and how to more connect with the environment. And so then they get the kids tree climbing as well.
And they solely climb these fig trees, right? These
Yeah.
strangler figs.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because of the way they grow around other trees and
Yeah.
create that setup. So I don't know if you can see, there's me way up there getting some climb on there. We'll show a few more photos. Here's one of me way up in the treetop there. And then we have a few videos here. So
There's
let's
Ray.
do, I think we have, we'll show us from the bottom here. So we'll start here. So I have a bit more climbing experience than you.
Yes.
Just from indoor bouldering. This was my first time ever climbing outdoors though, which was pretty cool.
And you climb barefoot. It's better
yeah.
for the tree.
Yep, they make you climb barefoot so you don't damage the tree, which is smart, but hurts your feet if you
Yeah.
don't have built up experience for this.
Yeah.
But it was really, really fun. It was very similar to what I'm used to, except just way higher because I'm used to
Yeah.
climbing in a gym.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had an absolute blast, and so did you. You fought hard
Yeah.
through a lot of these things, and I got a video of you set aside showing you climbing the tree as well. So this was our first tree. We got to climb two different trees. They had one that was a little bit lower, and then one that was kind of almost, I don't know, maybe twice as high.
Oh, was it?
Maybe not quite, but it was up there.
I didn't get
this
to
is cool. You get to show the
to
video.
the top, the as high as you could go on either one. But I got almost to the top of that one.
You made it.
I kind of did.
You made it right up to the
Yeah.
edge of this one.
With
yeah.
this, with
on
my
your second
second attempt. Yeah.
Yeah, you really did. But what an experience.
Yeah.
And just a lot of fun. It's so cool to do these sorts of things where.
You can show that one.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to show you climbing that tree. Where's my cursor? Oops. It's so cool to do these activities, and this is kind of what we do all the time, that are still outdoors, connect us to nature,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that's what, like, when I did it through the retreat, I was like, oh my God, Ray would love this. I think it would be so cool if he could do it too. So I'm so glad that they had the availability and time to be able to do that.
Yeah, and they were just incredibly nice people, and like you said, they really cared. You could tell, about the trees and doing it properly, ethically, sustainably. They're not going to go out and damage stuff.
Exactly.
They're very knowledgeable about the trees themselves, but also the other wildlife and everything that were around. So that was cool to hear them talking about some stuff like that. There you go. You're working it.
Oh, yeah.
And this was the second tree that
I
you were
worked my
climbing.
bum
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, you did. So you climbed hard on that one. This was the second tree. I did get all the way to the top. I'll just talk over it, but I'm basically saying like, yeah, there's Emily way down there. So it was a high climb. I did take one break on this one, so this was kind of like a two-parter for me. But yeah, I got way up there, and it's just incredible. You're like up in the canopy, looking out. Like, check this out. Look at that view. Like, I'm just laying on the back of this branch there.
Yeah.
Just absolutely incredible. Absolutely loved it. And it's got me inspired. Like, we're actually talking with this group to see if we can maybe coordinate to get back down there, Emily and I, and do a little bit of a scouting mission to see about maybe doing some photography from up in the canopy this way. Not that, like, I'd love to bring a group down there or some people down and do a workshop. So there's other ways to get up in the tree versus climbing the actual tree like that. So we're gonna look into that. There's nothing set at all. It's very just beginning stages, but the
2027.
well, it's just the feeling of 2027 for sure. If anything's possible, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But the feeling of just being up there, the experience of being up there, separate from photography, is just incredible. Like it's a different way of experiencing being in like a jungle like that than I've ever experienced down there. I've only been down twice, but getting up in that canopy like that, and we've been to some places where we've done a hike and you get to a platform or even those like tree things, like the big tall towers you climb, right? Yeah. And that's amazing to see up there. Yeah. Being in the tree, climbing in that tree, like resting on the branch, totally different experience. It just, again, so much more connecting with where you are. And then, you know, also like kind of freedom with these guys a little bit of being able to get you in potentially different trees in different areas, right? Versus like a tower where you're just like, this is where you go and you're stuck. I think there might be photographic potential there. So that's what we want to explore. And if it is something we can manage and work out and it does really, like we can do it consistently, it might be something that I offer down the road. So
we'll see.
We'll see, indeed. Let's switch back. So while we were there,
we heard a bellbird on the farm.
We didn't know. Izzy, the main guy, told us. He was like, we heard this sound. We were like, what is that? Yeah. He's like, it's the three-wattled bellbird. Yeah. Which is another very popular bird for people to seek out.
And were you in the tree at that time, or I was still climbing at the time?
You were.
I was in the tree, or I was attempting to climb it.
And I was trying to find this thing.
And you were trying to find it. They were all trying to find it. And I was just like chilling in the tree. And eventually you found it, or I came down from the tree. You found it, and
got this video. So we'll be quiet on this one. There is audio on this, just so you can hear these guys. If you've never heard them, the sound is kind of incredible. What a weird bird. What a weird bird. Just so weird. The mouth opens so much.
And the mouth even opens when it's not making the sound.
It just stays open. And then I'll play it one more time. If you watch, especially in here, like the neck, you can really see it like inflating and... So bizarre. Yeah, so really. Bizarre. So, by the way, this is a great example. This bird was way up high. Yeah. And this is a great example of the video we can get with the Z8, Z9. So I had my Z6 III.
Yeah, and you wanted to switch.
Because I put the teleconverted lens on, so it was 560, and then did that cropped in video. Yeah. And that was still 4K video right there, slow motion, played at regular speed so you can hear it. Anyway, that entire experience was really cool. We did end up getting a lifer bird for both of us during that, which was kind of neat. Yeah. There were other birds flitting around the tree because the trees were fruiting when we were there, which was neat. So it was a lot of stuff. There's our last day at Casamama.
Yeah, I was like, we were still in Monteverde. Yeah.
We were, yep. So that's like what the property looked like, what the house looked like there. And then we got tired of being there.
Yeah, well, we decided while I was on the retreat still, because you were spending so much time in Monteverde too, that you were like, why don't we spend a few days in Arenal, which is where we went last year for a few days. So we decided to do that.
Yep. Yeah, because we had really good experience there with a lodge. It was Arenal Observatory Lodge.
Yeah.
They have a feeder set up there. Anybody that heard about our trip from last year, we talked about it plenty. Like, we don't want to photograph the feeder setup, but we'll take advantage of it for birds being around there. And last year there was a bunch of fruiting bushes really low with a lot of berries and stuff, and birds were feeding in there.
Yeah.
Because they were drawn in from the feeding station, but then they would feed naturally around it. And so there was a lot of good photographic opportunity there. This year, we were different season, a couple months later.
Yeah.
Those trees weren't fruiting, so the feeder station was kind of blah.
Yeah, really. It was mostly just like
everything's sitting on the metal spikes and stuff.
It wasn't even, like, it was mostly just those guan, like turkeys.
A lot of the big guans and Oripendula were there as well. But and the honey creepers were all over it. But
like, you can't photograph these tiny little birds on these huge metal posts.
Really
like, it's just
really
dumb.
Couldn't. So the other portion of it was the Hummingbird Gardens.
Yeah.
And so, I would say, like, a big difference between the first Hummingbird Cafe in Monteverde.
Right.
It's all feeders there.
Like hummingbird feeders.
Hummingbird feeders with the liquid in it.
Just the sugar juice.
And they're drawing them to that. So photographically, we don't want them on that.
And just very small. Like, there's not an actual garden to walk around with flowers or anything, right?
Yeah.
It's just like this very, very condensed area. And like, whether you can just like sit and drink a coffee in this other small area, or like, it's just very condensed.
And also, we noticed, like, less diversity of species.
Yeah, like maybe five species.
To 6. Yeah, something like that we were seeing.
Maybe.
They
like
had
maybe more like 3.
They had a chart that showed more.
Like
I'm
10.
sure more come around.
Yeah.
But just different seasons or whatever.
Yeah. Like, I think, but I think max was like 10 in Monteverde.
Yeah.
Versus Arenal, which has like, I think
40?
36?
36, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we have a picture. Or
Up
I don't know if it's in there.
Yeah. And so more diversity there we experienced last year.
Yeah, and
big open gardens.
And multiple different gardens throughout the whole property.
Yes.
So there's like just a very wide ranging area you can just walk around, and it's just like, and it's just actual gardens of like flowers and these natural plants that are there. And like, okay, maybe it's a lot of that porterwood, which is the same plant, like kind of repeating itself, but there are other flowers, and it's just like, okay, it's kind of this messy plant, but at least it's like...
It's tough.
It is a tough plant. Of this white highlights and everything. But at least it's not just like this very condensed area and like not actually any plants,
And so it's still man-made. It's still manicured, right?
Yeah.
It's like open. It's not just natural jungle out there.
Yeah.
But it felt so much more natural. There is jungle all around it.
Yeah.
And so there were other birds around that you could photograph, like if you encountered them. And still photographing the hummingbirds, it was on at least a natural flower. And it wasn't like, I've seen this before, not in person, but I've seen the behind the scenes setups where they have hummingbird feeders to draw all the hummingbirds in, then they'll hang a flower or spray it with sugar water right near that, and to get like the photograph on the perfect background. So it's not like controlled like that, which isn't really what we're looking for.
No.
Again, not knocking that at all. Like, if that works for you, I understand why. If you want to guarantee you're going to get some great shots, like, that's the way to do it with hummingbirds. Because it's maddening.
It's a mess, It's
maddening photographing these. Even with having them all drawn into this one area, there's, how many species we saw? At least 8 to 10 species we saw there. There was probably more that we just didn't even notice. So there's tons of species. They're all chasing each other around. There's a lot of birds, and there's so many of these flowers. It's not like 1 or 2 bushes that they're coming to.
Crazy.
It's like, if you look behind us, it would be the equivalent of like this whole area back here filled sporadically with these plants. And so...
And then the plants themselves
not coming back to the same
are
one.
a mess.
The plants are a mess, and they're not coming back to the same one. They have, each bird kind of has its territory. But all of these flowers are providing nectar for them. So I almost never saw one go back to like the same flower to feed on. And so you can't predict anything. So it felt much more challenging, and it was much more challenging, and it felt, in a way, even though it was still a man-made garden, it felt more natural for us. And so that's what gravitated us to that. And one of the first things we saw when we got there were these red-legged honey creepers, which are just freaking adorable. I mean, I got to zoom in on this guy just so you can see his fun little hairdo.
Yeah, he's so cute.
I think they're maybe the cutest bird we saw and encountered.
I think they're your new favorite.
They are, and the coloration on them is so freaking pretty.
Yeah, and we saw, oh my God, the first afternoon, because we got there in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's right.
And the first afternoon we had there was like a toucan party happening. There was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 toucans, like 2 keelbills and 3 yellow-throated. I don't know.
Maybe even
like,
more. There may have been like 4 or 5 yellow-throated. There was a lot of them hanging
It was just
around,
a toucan party, and they were doing I don't know if it was a mating thing or what. They were all had their butts in the air, and they were just going nuts.
Yeah.
They were going crazy.
This one tree was really high.
Yeah.
It was cloudy mostly,
Yeah.
so we got to play with some high key. And these branches, I love the shape of them. There's the keelbill. The others are the yellow-throated. I got these guys.
Yeah, that was great.
I still don't know. I still haven't ID'd these. I feel like they're, they look like the U.S. In the U.S. they would be great crested flycatcher, but I'm sure there's something different there. But
Yeah.
I got these guys tangling and fighting, which was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just playing with different openings in the trees for these toucans. They're so pretty.
Yeah.
The keelbill. I still never got like a great close-up
shot.
portrait
Yeah,
of
yeah,
a keelbill.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we'd have to go to a feeder setup for them.
Probably. Yeah. I don't know if I set aside a video of that. Oh, here's just a couple other videos. We'll just play real quick. This grass quits were, this was really funny. He was like trying to impress the female there. Look at that move. It's just waving away like a maniac. Yeah. And then we do have some hummingbird stuff to show, but let's see. Oh, this was one other thing I did want to show. Well, here, let's do this.
Oh.
Here's Emily's place where you got to stay. I just wanted to kind of show like that place in the view. Like you had was incredible
stunning.
there.
There's my room.
So that was her retreat place.
There's my view. Monteverde.
So that was really nice.
Beautiful.
And then we had, let's see. Stacy and I did this hike when we were at Curry Concha the last time, when we went out and hiked on our own. Check this thing out.
Tree?
I'll just give it a second. You see.
Oh.
This thing was the size of your hand.
Oh, God. Terrifying.
He was gigantic.
Ooh.
And I took this video of him like walking through. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
I shot like right up the tree. He was just walking around the tree. Yeah. And I tried to get him like walking right through the frame.
Ooh.
Right?
Creepy crawly.
He was big. He was like that.
Ooh.
Yeah. So anyway, that was fun. Then he almost walked right on the camera.
Yeah.
And then there was something. Oh yeah, this was what I wanted to show.
Monkey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did you post this?
I didn't post this yet.
Oh.
Or I did. I'm sorry. I did a quick story on it. I didn't make a reel out of it.
Oh,
but yeah, this was like really cool. Of
this monkey.
Well, and it just shows like this landscape, how big it is. Yeah. Like you saw him out there, and I zoomed this. This is all just shot on the phone. Zoomed all the way in, but when you really scale back and see where this thing is, like, and it was just on this other cliffside on the opposite side of this big. Yeah, look at that.
How'd you even see him?
Way out there. Just looking out, it was easy to see, like them running around because they were moving, you know. I saw them, but like, yeah, this tree right here was massive, and it went up and there was a bunch of fruit in there that they were feeding on.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see as well. So I wanted to show that. Got this kiskadee. We assume it's a kiskadee. I don't know. There's so many birds that look like this.
Yeah, there's like 6
ID'd
birds that are this, like look almost identical, but the masks are different and the face
size
markings.
A little bit.
And the size.
Anyway, I got this guy gathering nesting material, which was really fun. That was cool to see.
I think you had a video of that too.
Did I have a video of that in there? Yeah, I couldn't be sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's just the photo, so I guess I didn't set that aside. Yeah.
Okay.
I do have a video. I think it just wasn't that great, so I didn't include it.
Hermit.
Yeah, this was the green.
I think it's a green hermit.
Green hermit.
Yeah, I think so.
On this beautiful, beautiful flower. We caught him just doing that once. The white-necked Jacobin. Jacobin, I think, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Is how I heard it pronounced down there by the local guides. Another keelbill. This was a really funny story, guys. So this was that first day, that afternoon, when the toucans were going crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people there, other photographers.
Yeah.
It's a very popular
and
spot
it's
for
a lot
other
of people
photographers.
Staying there. It's a hotel too.
Totally. So there's like this observation platform. And then there's also another even higher one that you could climb up to. We had done that higher one to get a vantage point on these guys where we're shooting a little bit more eye level. But we already shot that.
Yeah.
And so we were back down working mostly with the hummingbirds. But every once in a while these toucans would show up and do this. And so I'd try and photograph it. And so I noticed what you're seeing right here is like when I looked up through, like almost right from underneath, the patterns of this tree were really neat. And so I was like, oh, this is really cool. And so I start working that, and I'm working it and taking a few photos and getting some stuff I'm happy with. And then all of a sudden I feel like a tap on my shoulder, and it's this other photographer who I'd seen around the area a few times. And he's like, hey, just a heads up. And he was super nice, really nice and polite about it. He was trying to help me out. He's like, hey, just a heads up, if you come up onto this platform, you can shoot a little bit more eye level so you're not shooting at them from underneath, which I completely understand why he would do that as like a helpful thing, because most people, if you see somebody just pointing straight up at the sky, you're like, that's not gonna be that great a shot. And so I just kindly explained, I was like, oh yeah, I was like, thanks man. I said, I've done some shots there. I said, I'm really working with the patterns here from underneath. He was like, oh, okay. And I still don't think he fully understood. He was just like, okay, whatever. And just kind of went about his business. But I really appreciated just how nice he did it, because I've also encountered people that are like, you know-it-alls, arrogant and rude about it, and would just come up and be like, listen, your photo this isn't going to be good, you want to do it here. And like, there's just a right way and a wrong way to approach that, because you never know somebody's experience level. And if I was a beginner, it probably would have been a crappy shot. Like if I was just trying to get a shot of the toucan on its own from this perspective, like it's a horrible shot of just the toucan itself. That's not what I was doing. I was trying to incorporate all of these shapes and branches and do some different stuff like this, right? But you know, a beginner probably wouldn't be shooting like that. Thinking this way, they'd be just trying to zoom in and shoot from underneath, and it's like it's helpful what he said, you know. So I thought it was really kind how he did it, but it was also a little bit of a chuckle, because it was just like, yeah, we're good, you know. But a nice experience. So on to the hummingbirds. I'm back to showing the photos, right? Okay, good. We had some more honey creeper experience there, which was really cool. And then these, I think they are like a rainbow eucalyptus.
Yeah, eucalyptus.
If I can get that word out of my mouth there.
I helped you.
Yes, you did. And we actually ended up getting
the last day, right?
See some aracari.
Maybe.
Collared aracari or aracari? I don't know how you say it. I've heard it both ways down there now. But this, I'll let you talk about this a little bit.
What is it?
This is, look at the lens, look at the background.
Yeah, but that's your photo.
I know, but this is something that we experimented with a ton.
The bokeh lens. The donut bokeh lens. TT Artisan, 250, 5.6.
Yep.
We could advertise this lens now.
Let's see if we can. I know, we've gotten a few people to buy it.
I know. Yeah, I'll take commission, please.
We've definitely gotten a few people to buy it. These are not from that, but we'll get to some. These were just all shot with the 1:4, these beautiful woodpeckers.
Yeah, that was fun. And we think we saw some, was it the same one we saw go into the hole?
Yes, it was. They went to it right after that. Yeah, they went over and were working in nest cavity. The crested guan, I think this is the crested.
Okay.
Yep. A beautiful bird. And then, I'm not sure, some of these black crested coquettes. Super cute little guy. One of our favorites from last year, and one we were hoping to get again this year. And he was there.
Did.
And this is where I really started experimenting with this slow shutter thing. So I think probably the vast majority of photos you're going to see from this point on are going to be blurry.
Either photos blurry and bokeh.
Yes, and or blurry from the bokeh.
Blurry from the bokeh.
It's a manual focus lens, that setup. And I was trying to shoot, I started at 30th.
And then you went down to 10th,
Went to a 15th for an outing, and then ended up at 10th. And 10th was, I think, my favorite. What was that guy soaring up there? Oh, just a pelican. I didn't know if it was a wood stork soaring up there.
Oh, okay.
But I did shoot some regular shutter speed too, just when there was something really cool with a composition or pretty like that. But,
I like that one.
Here we go. So this is starting with the donut bokeh lens. I don't know if this one's you or me.
This is you.
It is still me.
Yeah, when you have them starred, I know they're yours.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yeah. There's the view.
The view is beautiful. Nice lake there, Lake Arenal, I think.
Yeah, yep. Incredible view from that place. Black crested coquette again. And here's where it really started.
Yeah, we actually got multiple opportunities.
We did.
With like the male and the female.
Yeah,
there.
Yep,
so
definitely.
Nice.
In a few different areas, so different individuals for sure.
Yeah.
But this was my goal. I wanted to get these sharp, and some of them just turned out sharp all around. Like when the bird was holding still, like this is 30th of a second.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I have some at 10th of a second that
I
are
can't
just
even
sharp.
imagine.
You know?
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. But this is the technique and the look I was after. I wanted sharp flower with bird moving. My thinking with this, the reason behind this is how we see these birds. You know, like when you're there in person watching them, they're just zipping all around and moving. Like they are kind of a blur, and other than when they stop and hover.
Right. Because I feel like you can see them.
Yeah. But like so much of it is just like zoom, zoom, just like this actual blur.
Yeah.
And so I love the idea of trying to kind of get that all in one shot, you know?
Yeah.
Plus I love the idea of just showing the sense of movement that they do with the flower as like the stationary kind of base for it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of different varieties here. I'm sure it's not going to be everybody's taste at all, but it's certainly something that, guys, we both experienced this, and we said it.
What's that?
We would take a handful of just like close,
like
sharp photos
the sharp
with
photos.
like a normal shutter speed for us, which is like what were you? Do you know what you were working?
I don't know.
250-ish?
I did it higher.
You went higher than
with
that?
the bokeh lens, I was doing higher.
Oh yeah, but with the standard lens, if you were shooting your 400-4.5.
I don't know. I think I do higher than you.
All right. So what was your shutter speed around?
I don't
Do you remember?
know.
Like
Maybe
ballpark.
Maybe more like 1,000.
Okay, yeah. So anywhere from 2/50th to 1,000th of a second, trying for like just sharp hummingbird photos. The wings are still going to blur, but we're trying to get them sharp with a decent shutter speed.
Yeah.
But we both experienced, like after we did that first day, we looked at the photos, we're like, they're great, but like we're either
It's just kind of boring.
already have it, or it just kind of felt boring.
Yeah.
It really did, and it just wasn't. I think for both of us, I don't know if I want to speak for you, but it's just not inspiring photography.
Yeah. No,
it
it's
that
just
way.
more like pretty, but it's like boring.
Yeah, and it shows off the bird well, you know, it certainly does, but that's kind of all it does, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of the species we had already photographed that way, so it's like we already had that shot, and I do get that you want that shot, because they're stunning birds, these hummingbirds.
Totally.
So you do want to have some of those sharp ones that just truly
and like
show off the
see
bird.
the detail and all that, and like,
I can also see exploring like getting them at different angles and different light because of how much the plumage changes based on the angle and what they're flaring and all that. So there's more to explore there that we didn't necessarily do.
Right.
But other than that, it just for me it wasn't inspiring.
And I feel like that's tough too. Like that's also more of like a waiting game kind of. Like it can just be odds of like, you know, they have to just, I don't know, you have to just spend time and have it just be the right moment.
Totally.
Like I think sometimes it's just like I included some maybe where it's just like just the right moment where they show certain colors or the throat or the head or the whatever, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's what really pushed me into doing this. You really gravitated towards the donut bokeh lens. I shot it some, but I was really trying to do this. And we only have one of those lenses, which, I mean, if we had two, I think I'd have it on more.
Do you?
I love that lens. It's so much fun. But it's also
But you had
manual
this
focus.
project.
And I did have this project, so I was thrilled with doing that, you know. There's Emily having a nice drink at one of our places there. Yeah.
Some piña smoothie.
Yeah.
We got to see this, which was cool. Is that the clay-colored thrush?
Yep.
The Costa Rica's national bird.
There we go. That was neat. And then this was the, oh boy.
Oh.
We know the name.
Oh. We knew the plumeteer.
Yes. What? There was something before
some
that.
other plumeteer. Yeah, some kind of
something,
plumeteer.
Something plumeteer.
He was a good looking.
Might be even like plumelatier.
Plumelatier.
I think maybe.
Oh,
anyway.
I think that's the female Jacobin.
I think you might be right. Yeah. I shot this with the Plana, the 135.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we did bring all of our funky lenses.
We mixed it up a lot.
Yeah.
Right? We really did. Yeah. There's another Plana.
Yeah, look at you. You're at 500th of a second there.
Yeah. I mean, at 1.8, it's like a no-brainer. You're going to get up there in shutter speed.
Yeah, because it's like, what else can you do, right?
So this donut bokeh lens, manual focus, trying to do manual focus with hummingbirds in flight and the way they move.
It's tough. It's really tough.
There was a lot of cursing out there from both of us.
Yeah.
Especially me. Yeah.
Did we? We cursed?
I was cursing a few times. I was just like, there's always something in the way, you know? This one I kept, even though it was out of focus, I'm like, the whole thing looks like a painting.
Yeah, see,
that's like
that was my struggle with some of them. I was like, do I like that? Yeah, there was something about them that I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Did I put it back to the photos? Okay, making sure. Yeah, let us know in the comments if you liked any of these, you know, or if you don't, that's totally fine. You can let us know. We can take it.
We can take it.
It's not for everybody. I get that. Here's another donut bokeh lens with a banana
really
clit.
Like that one,
yeah,
the way it lays out, really nice.
Yeah, just like it. Over and over again, we just kept saying it gives such a painterly look to the photo.
Yeah,
it really does. So, and it's it's an in-your-face effect a lot of the times. It's very obvious, you know.
Oh, there was our view from our shipping container. First time we stayed in a shipping container.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to show that. Yeah,
Yeah.
just talk about that.
So,
Guys, compared to our normal living space, it felt luxurious.
It was huge.
It was. For most people, it'd be like, oh, I'm going to stay in this tiny home.
Yeah.
And for us, it was like, look at all this space.
I mean, I guess it wasn't that much bigger,
It was,
but it was definitely
there was
bigger.
a lot more space in
I mean, there was the
than our
bathroom
van.
was huge. It had like a tub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot more space
There
in
was a lot
there.
more space.
Yeah. There's a whole separate kitchen area.
Yeah.
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 But anyway, we
It was
loved
really nice,
And that
yeah.
was the view.
Yeah.
Like right out the bed, out
Yeah.
the main doors there.
And we
Yeah.
were kind of chuckling because last year we stayed down the road at this like super fancy hotel when my mom was paying.
Yes, yes.
So.
Yes. So a little bit different.
A little bit different.
Another bokeh lens shot of the golden hooded tanager.
Yeah, super cute.
Another
Yeah,
white
so like
white-necked.
this was.
Oh yeah, thousandth of a second.
Yeah, see, I
Yep.
told you I think I was.
I mean,
in
but your
thousand.
settings are great, you know?
Yeah, there.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful
like
bird.
super clear shot of the white-necked Jacobin,
And it shows them well, but like outside of that,
and then it's just like boring.
right? I know, and it's so weird to say that. I just
Yeah.
think our taste has gone so bizarre.
It's so weird. We're just
It
like
really
off the
has.
wall.
It really has that, like this stuff. I mean, this is a beautiful shot.
Right.
It really is. There is
Yeah.
zero to complain about.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably
And then
sharp.
why
It
am I
shows the
shooting
bird.
F? Oh, I was like, why am I shooting F4? Because it's the I have the
7200 with the tele.
teleconverter.
Yeah.
Teleconverter.
Yep. And then here's me over
And
there.
then 30th of a second,
Yeah.
and you're still super sharp.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like
So
what?
here's another thing that was really funny. I learned with this experiment. I was thinking all along, going to have the stationary flower outside of the wind, right? Outside
yeah.
the wind. When it was windy, okay, everything's blowing around. I get it, right? But I'm going to have the stationary flower, and then the hummingbird's just going to come in because they're so dainty.
No.
Turns out they go in there, and like if this is the flower, guys, they go in and push it, and they push it over and over again, and then when they leave, it like moves. So it was so hard to get a sharp flower and get them really moving, because a lot of times I got sharp flower and they would push it in and hold it there. So now the flower's sharp, but now they're not moving. Like their body is, but their
Right.
head's stationary,
Right,
which is
right.
what you're seeing here, right? So yeah, we're just going to go through a lot of these kind of quick here with the motion blur. This is definitely one of my favorites, just really showing a lot of movement there. But I started earlier on in this trip at 30th of a second, and it's cool, you can still see you get some sharp at 30th of a second, you know?
Yeah.
But then really like the movement is what I was after. But I really wanted the sharp flower there, but he moved it, you know?
Right.
That's what I was kind of talking about. Like these jerks were moving these flowers all over the place on me. But just really fun to be able to like really explore this sense of movement and motion, and then sometimes still get like really sharp photos.
Yeah.
Anyway,
At 30th of a second.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's me shooting sharper. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
rated. Yep. So I did some, you know,
Just
standard as
normal
well.
portraits.
Every
Yeah.
once in a while. Yeah. Had some more fun with the toucans. They came back again.
Yeah.
They're so silly.
They're crazy.
They're such goofballs.
Yeah.
Got this fun parrot flying. We had some incredible dramatic light.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there was like the storm clouds moving through, sun popping out occasionally. So that was really fun to play with these toucans when they were up high. And I really like this one, even with all those twigs and everything.
Yeah.
I just thought it
He
it
pops
kinda-
out of the scene there.
It turned out really nicely, yeah. Another one of these flycatcher guys, whatever they are. we'll ID it later.
Yes.
Yeah.
His toucan shuffle.
Goofball shuffle. Yeah. I have some video of him doing that, I think. And like
Oh.
bouncing around up there.
Yeah.
It was really funny. And just all the clouds moving through with the volcano in the background. And these were one of the highlights for sure.
Crowned wood nymph.
Yeah, we
They
never
were a
saw them
star.
last year.
Nope.
But we got to see them this year a lot.
Yeah,
There was
a
a
lot.
bunch of them.
Yeah,
They're
I feel like
stunners.
them and the white-necked Jacobin
Yeah, a lot of them
were
too
like
this year.
the two we saw the most.
And just two that we concentrated on because they were
Yeah.
like prettier. Some of the others are just
Yeah.
a little bit more drab, green, browns, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And not that they're not pretty, but
Yeah.
you know, these guys stood out. These,
Yeah.
the white-necked were really, really pretty. So this is the kind of movement I really was after. This one is a composite. The original had a blurry flower like that,
Right.
so I took the sharp flower from another frame and just put
To
it in there.
just
So
kind of make it easier on the eyes.
I might do that on more of these, but so far this is the only one I've done, as you guys are going to see through here. The rest of them are just straight out of camera shots. We had some really close encounters with this guy. I forget what the species is at this point, but he was really friendly.
And has some beautiful tones in there too.
He was like drab to begin with,
Yeah.
but then you'd move a certain way and you're like, whoa, like
He's got
these crazy
beautiful
flashes of
blue-
color.
Yeah.
I ended up trying to do like minimum focus, super close detailed stuff on him because he was just perched up. And then you found these guys.
Yep, they were feeding in the porterweed too, where the hummingbirds were
Yeah.
feeding as well.
You were like, yo, we got honey creepers over here.
Yeah, we'd always try and, you got to help each other out.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yep.
know. Yep. They're just beautiful birds.
Yeah.
They really are. And it was a mess to shoot in here, but it was a classic one of those, like, I think if you get close enough and
Yeah.
shoot through enough stuff, you can
Right.
kind of simplify the scene.
Make it
and
a
this
little
one,
bit.
I think, let me show real quick. I think I can show this. The AI removal.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I
like,
mean, pretty
right
flawless.
through that stuff.
Kind of crazy.
It does so good. It
Yeah.
does such a good job. It's crazy. Then I did a little bit of playing with that bokeh lens. Got some smaller in frame stuff.
And that's what you were saying, that the small in frame really shined in this location particularly.
I think
with
that's
the
really
bokeh
where it
lens.
shines. Yeah.
And I think in just with this lens in general, like that might be
Oh, I love this.
where this lens shines in general.
Yeah, because I think if it's so far out of focus, you're just getting like big giant circles. You're losing some of that more texture and painterly
Yeah.
look. I love that you got this guy
Yeah,
flying in.
it's kind of funny, just his position. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I liked
like
it.
inverted.
Yeah.
But manual focus on any of this stuff is.
It was definitely challenging, and I think the more I worked with it, the less frustrated I got, and just like kind of
You just
saw it as
accept it?
more of just like
This is how it is.
yeah.
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 Oh, that's so pretty. Just
Thanks.
beautiful textures. There's one I think coming up. We had a little bit of backlight that was fun, and then me playing with more motion again. And we're gonna go through these a little faster. We're getting low on battery here, guys. This is one I really like.
Yeah.
Sharp flowers is straight out of camera. I mean, edited, but not composited.
Yeah.
And then getting that movement, But then the next frame, you get them tack sharp.
It's crazy.
even at 15th of a second.
Yeah, I think I do need to play with less sharp shutter speed. I don't think I needed the 1,000th of a second on some of those days. I think I had my minimum set at 1,000, and I don't think I needed it. You know?
Maybe not. Yeah,
But we'll see.
Yeah, here's another really good one that I liked, and then he does that the next moment. He's like stationary, and I was actually actively trying to get them doing that move. I was kind of almost waiting for them to like come out and stop
okay.
hovering there, or most
To
of the time
get
I was
more
just
of
like
the
firing
movement.
through it all.
Yeah.
But that's really what I wanted. These guys are so stunning.
Yeah, they're just so colorful.
that green
It's
just flashes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And it was
too.
fun with these shutter speeds to get some movement and some not. That one's crazy sharp for this.
The lens.
The
yeah.
donut bokeh lens.
Yeah, it's pretty sharp.
But see how it is pretty?
But
got
it's
the
not
texture.
as yeah.
It's not like this.
Yeah.
And it's not like, there's one coming up, I know. There's some fun movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a nice sunset, but I want to try and get to this one.
It's okay. You gotta go through all of them.
Yeah. But there's the one that's going to come up that you had. It just, the whole thing looks like a hand-painted thing, yet it was just done in a single frame.
Ooh, I
That's fun
love that
movement.
one. Yeah, I love that one.
This is really what I love, like the in and out, like showing
Yeah.
almost like the feeding behavior.
Yeah.
And the sharp flower is really fun there. And then some with just all blur, and I don't know if I'll keep them, but it's just fun to have them for a little bit.
that one's so cool too.
The swirly
Twister.
out. Yeah, it was like he full on left in the
Yeah,
middle of the frame.
like,
And this was when
bye.
I got down to 10th of a second.
Yeah.
Really showing some of this movement, but like still, like kind of sharp head and eye in there.
Yeah.
While he's moving around. This one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's the one. Yeah. Look at that pose. But like, so this compared to that closer one,
Yeah.
this background's so much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's just so much more interesting.
So much more interesting.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff, Em.
Thanks.
Really, really pretty.
Thanks.
I like both poses. I think I'm partial to this one,
Yeah.
but I do like both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just incredible stuff.
Thank you.
And then, just some standard portraits of some of these guys. Oh, you got him with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of edited to death, but
yeah. I mean, it seems fine to me.
I don't know.
It was just
I did
cool
a
to
bunch
try and
of
see him
stuff.
around
the tree.
the eucalyptus, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I just had good light, I would just let me just shoot right, especially if they're perched. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't need to slow
sure.
shutter speed. It's not going to do anything,
Yeah.
This was one, and I think there's one coming up that I played with without a focus on purpose that I liked a little more. Ooh, wow.
Yeah, painterly
Wow.
coquette man.
Ooh, he jumps right out, coquette man. Oh, you got a couple of edits on?
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
apparently.
Cool.
Or it's
Yeah.
like 17 edits, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's nice showing the original.
I think so.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So
I love
sorry.
that one.
I didn't realize that there was so many.
It's kind of neat to see your experimentation with it. Oh, I like that back over there.
Okay, now this one I only kept in because it's such a weird crop, I feel like. But I just loved the textures.
On the right.
On the right.
I know.
It's like, there was like 17 versions of that other one. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, we're getting down into the red.
I know,
on
we're
the
in the
battery.
red. We got to be really careful.
So we'll wrap it up. Let's see. I don't think, yeah, we don't have much more here. So.
Oh, that's obviously an accident because
The what?
like this. It's fine. We got to keep going.
I don't see, but that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these backgrounds like that, incredible. I love the small frame, and nice with just like the one little weed sticking up there. Okay, so there's just, but
it's
not much.
The AI
That's
thing
pretty
is
good.
going bad, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Or my cloning is off.
Dan, you did some great stuff with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, here's going to be some more movement ones. There's one coming up. That's maybe my favorite.
Oh, yeah, that's
I
cool.
love that he's ghosted.
Yeah.
I love that you can see a version of him out
Yeah.
here and the
His
version
like
of him
whole
going
head
in.
with his little
Yep.
hairs.
Crest and the bill and everything.
Yeah.
And so that, and it's like a pretty much tack sharp flower at 10th of a second. What?
I was just laughing at like the 20 versions of my photo that I sent you.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, back to this donut bokeh lens. It just does so much grace. That one's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it can work closer. Like this is closer.
Yeah, that is weird.
You know?
Yeah.
So it just depends on the background. Wow. You got some trippy, awesome stuff. Nicely done with the perched. Yeah.
I think that one had like, yeah, the light and the dark too.
Gotcha.
I went like
Oh,
one
okay.
edit.
Yep. I do like the light edit, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's just more of like a weird one. I
Yeah,
don't
him
know.
like moving through that space.
Yeah.
Yep, here's some more movement from us. So yeah, as you can see guys, we've been getting trippy with it. Hey guys, we're back after a lunch break. We actually ran the complete battery down on the laptop here, so it kind of paused in our last recording. So we'll finish up the show now. And we were just ending before on this image right here by saying it's definitely something we're getting like trippy with all these images, with like all this different stuff like this.
Yeah.
And getting, you know, just really trying for this different stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Is a big part of
What we were doing
what we're doing all the time.
Yeah.
Lately, you know?
Yeah.
Like we were doing a ton of that in Florida.
Between the housing and this donut bokeh lens. I mean, mostly those are these two new things, and then
We
here
have the ND
using
filter.
the ND filter,
Trying
and then
for
this
motion and
slow
this.
shutter stuff,
Yeah.
which I didn't really play with the hummingbirds.
Did you try it at all or no?
I didn't.
Okay.
I was just focused on the donut bokeh.
Focused on it. Nice pun.
Manually focusing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's not to say we didn't shoot anything regular, as you saw. Like we're getting near the end here. But before we wrap up all the photos, I'm going to switch over and show. We got some really fun videos of hummingbirds.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to show some of that, so we'll hop on over there and take a look. This was actually one that was at
the
one
hummingbird
of those
garden.
Hummingbird
or
garden
cafe.
feeder. Yeah, the feeder. So you can see the feeder on the right there. But this is my first time ever shooting and seeing these hummingbirds at this speed, like this
Right.
8 times slow motion.
Right.
You know? And it's kind of impressive how good it does at slowing the wings down. I mean, it's not super slow motion, but how fun it is to watch that behavior.
Yeah.
And you know what I found fascinating on this one, Emily, is like how when it goes into the feeder and then comes back, it came back into the exact same spot in space, like right into the same focal plane. Like you can see he's like maybe slightly out there, but you know, he moved off to the edge, and then I don't know, we'll see if he comes back again, but if he does, he just comes right back out in like almost the exact same space again, which is pretty fascinating. Like check that out. Like it comes right back into focus, you know?
Yeah.
Pretty wild stuff. So this is a violet saber wing, definitely one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, they were huge compared to some of those other guys.
They were.
Like huge.
Yeah. So then we also have this little white knight Jacobin. I don't know how to say it. But then there's 2 more videos after this I want to show you guys.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. Did you catch that
the
little
pause?
That's really fun to see in these.
Yeah.
Everything in these videos really,
I feel like you wouldn't notice, like I didn't notice them doing that. Like you would never notice at 1x speed, you know, like if you're just watching these hummingbirds.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm going to show you on another one of these. So look at that. I love watching them work. And you can see here, look how he pushes the flower around. You can see the flower shaking. Nothing else is moving, right? The others are all pretty still. But he did a good job of knocking that thing around, you know? And so, yeah, that's the one I want to end it on. But this one is, actually, let me switch that. This one is the little black crested coquette, which is really fun. And I don't think he does the pausing at all. He seems pretty consistent. But they move like
so much. It's interesting because like when you see them, it seems like they're moving so much slower, but their wings are moving so much faster.
Yeah, the little tiny guy, I think his wings just go a little bit faster.
But
yeah,
I guess it's like the body move. They like they look almost more like bees.
Yeah.
When you're watching them.
They're much more methodical in their movement throughout the flowers as well.
Yeah.
I definitely noticed that. But this is one I wanted to show everybody. Let's start. I think it starts out of focus. Yeah, we'll just bring it up to here. This is one of those
crowned wood nymph.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and let me go back a second there. He does the pause quite often in his flight pattern. So you're going to watch, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
Keep an eye on this guy and watch. You're going to see a few times where he just does this like short pause.
Maybe it's when they're turning. No, I guess not.
I think it's just like a little break. A little break, yeah. You know? So notice this, like see how long it took me to get it in focus. So watch.
And then that shimmer.
Yeah, when he comes around that side and you see the throat, right?
Yeah.
So watch, there's a few times here I'm going to miss focus. Then he's going to fly to another flower. It's going to take me a while to like find him. Look, there was that pause.
You were getting
another one.
Frustrated with the focus.
Yeah,
with the video.
Sure. So watch this. Look, he left, and look, I'm still going to like go over, try and get him, get focus. All right. So I just want everybody to see, like, it seems like I'm taking a while to get there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll watch this in real time in a second.
Oh.
You got to see how chaotic this all is. This all looks so peaceful and like, look at him feeding and blah, 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 right? So check that out. Okay, now let's just ditch the slow motion on this and watch this real time.
Oh gosh, it's going to be like a headache. Oh God.
Look at this. This is how this all happened.
No, yeah.
This is what it's like to shoot these hummingbirds.
Yeah.
Look how fast I actually got focus and everything, right? But it's like, you watch it slow motion, it's like, come on, Ray, get with the bird, get focus. No, this is what's going on.
Yeah, it's
chaos. I thought that was a real fun
that is a good example.
To see.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
Like,
24 seconds is the whole clip.
Yeah.
Versus like 3 minutes slowed down.
Yeah, I mean, like, let me find one of these ones where he's like just kind of out in the open here. Like, even watch this now. It's just like so fast, right?
Yeah, they're so fast.
If I split it out slow motion and watch that same clip there, and now we're just like,
yeah, it's so funny.
You can see his tongue come out.
Yeah.
It's just chaos shooting these guys.
Yeah, that is funny.
So I thought that was a fun little representation.
Yeah, of what it's like to actually
work with these birds. Yeah. In this chaotic, not predictable environment. You know, like that's a big part of it. So
was that it? That's the last one?
No, there's a couple more of these guys. This guy perched. He was one of the last birds I shot.
It's a super fun perch.
It was really nice.
Yeah,
so I shot it against a building again. This was just against like the lighter building in the background. But then right after that, I did a few of these with the nice shape and the curve, and then I moved up and just got a green background on them.
Yeah, I like the high key too.
Me too. I like it better.
Yeah, it's something interesting about it.
I really do. It shows like it's more about the shapes and everything.
Yeah.
And then
that must be
one of
let's
these
see if there's 10 edits of this one.
Black crested coquettes. Yeah, here's a little behind the scenes. So this is what it looked like out there, everybody. So this is the portal reed we're shooting in.
Yeah.
You can see it's a tangled mess.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It really is. And they would hit any of this, and then there's another whole row over here, and then there's a huge batch back there.
And then there's like a whole nother garden.
It's just all over the place, right?
Yeah.
So not the easiest to predict. This was one of the more out of focus ones I liked. I think it's just like a cool like little impression of him and stuff like that. And
that's a super pretty one.
The lighting was really nice on that guy. Yeah, this was the last evening we were walking back towards sunset.
Yeah.
Honey creeper on the feeder.
Oh.
I think what I'm going to do in the edit here is you can see he was down on some, what it was like.
Was it like a platform or like papaya or something
like that?
Yeah.
He was on a platform there, but he was sitting on the fruit.
Yeah.
I feel like because I used enough foreground, I could just paint in a little bit more to just kind of hide that out and just leave the bird showing.
Yeah.
I had 2 different patterns though.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure which one I like the most, but
yeah.
Still a way of getting something out of him sitting just on this big dumb platform right there, you know, because he was just sitting right out in the open. And then this guy flew in right after it, the black one, and scared him off, the honey creeper.
Yeah.
But then he's so tall it's a piece of cake
Yeah,
to just
to
shoot
hide
through the
the
foreground.
stuff,
This
yeah.
is one, it's almost impossible for us to see out here in this
Yeah,
bright
yeah,
light.
the bright light.
But I loved the look of this. The moodiness of this just caught the light on the bird. There's like a couple of little indications of some like lighter spots of color throughout the frame
Yeah.
that we can't see at all right
Yeah,
now. All
I'm
we
like,
see
I
is
see
like
dark.
a nice reflection. You can kind of see his bill, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and this one. This was
Yeah.
your only small in frame of the trip.
Of, I think, anytime
Anytime in
shooting
Costa Rica? No, we got some monkeys small in frame last year.
Oh, we
in
did shoot the
January.
wide there.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. Last day, last
few
sunset,
minutes. Last few minutes of light.
Anything being out there.
Yeah.
This beautiful sunset. It was the second one. The night before was a nice sunset
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Both really, really pretty. And I noticed, we learned the night before. Like, this is the kind of thing that I think it pays off to pay attention to every little detail of what's happening, right? Because this shot came about from sort of learned behavior just in crow right there.
Yeah.
Just in our one visit the evening prior. And we learned that night that for whatever reason this place puts out fruit right after sunset.
After sunset, yeah.
So they do one in the middle of the day, it seems
Yeah.
like, at this lodge.
Yeah.
And then one right after sunset.
Yeah.
I don't know why not right before to like bring them all in good light, but we're guessing, we don't know, but we're guessing maybe it's something to do with like trying to bring in some of the night animals, birds.
Yeah, I don't know.
And who knows? Anyway,
Yeah.
right, both the first night we were there, evening at sunset,
Yeah.
sitting by the feeder. We went over there just to watch this sunset. 'cause
Yeah,
it's
just
a
to watch
beautiful
sunset.
view there.
Yeah.
And at that point, the light was too dim everywhere else for us to really be doing much shooting. So we're
Yeah.
like, let's go over there and just see.
Yeah.
So we watch this sunset, and then we see them bringing the fruit out.
Yeah,
And
we were
then
surprised by that.
Right before it happened, though,
All the birds were
know.
flying around.
There's a
And,
bunch of black guan that come in.
Yeah.
The Montezuma or pendulus come in.
yeah.
I forget what else. The honey creepers come around, maybe a couple other little birds, but
Mostly like the
those
bigger
ones.
birds, yeah.
And they all just started like showing up before we're like, wow,
Yeah.
they're really gathering, and then the fruit showed up. So cut to the next night.
Which I don't even think they brought the fruit.
What's
The
that?
second night. They did not bring the fruit.
I thought they did it afterwards.
Did they?
I think so.
Oh,
I think
okay.
after the sunset, yeah.
Oh, I don't
and we just
remember.
walked away because it was
Oh,
like
okay.
done, you know.
Oh, I don't
at
remember
that
them
point.
bringing it.
So the second night, same thing starts happening. All these birds start gathering. And I'll show the photo here again. I see a lot of these guan perching up in these trees off to the right, just getting ready to hit this feeder for when the fruit is going to show up. But some of them, I think, are just retiring for the evening as
Yeah.
well. And like, I mean, there's maybe, I don't know, let's say 7 to 10 of them
Yeah.
sitting up in the tree. Not a huge number, but enough. And I see one of them fly across the sky, just like this,
Yeah.
to my eye.
And then you're like, oh,
and
gotta
I
get
had
this.
I was sitting there with the 100 to 400 on the lens,
Yeah.
or on the camera, and I saw that happen, and I was just like, oh, like light bulb moment, instant, you know?
Yeah.
So like, I feel like it came about because I learned and paid attention, like, okay, the birds are gathering for this reason at this time of night. So we come back the second night, it happens again, more birds gather. So you realize there's more of them there. You see one do a particular thing, in this case, which was fly across the sky. And then it instantly lets me know, like, this might be possible again.
Right.
Because there's more of them there, there's a good chance one of them might fly again and do the similar thing.
Right.
So I immediately put the 24-70 or 24 to 120 on, I guess. And I set up 24 millimeter, went full manual, just set the exposure. The exposure compensation listed here didn't matter because I was not in auto ISO.
Right.
So I just dialed in the settings. I went with 1250, thinking I wanted a decent enough shutter speed to
Yeah.
freeze the action in the sky, but it didn't need to be too high because they're slow moving
Yeah,
birds.
yeah.
So I didn't. That felt good to me. Bumped the aperture up a little bit just to get a little bit more depth of field. Instead of f4 on that lens, I went to 5.6, which felt like, again, it would be plenty of depth of field. And I just pre-focused on this tree up here,
Oh, okay.
figuring that's where they're going to come through, because I did not want to have to deal with trying to focus
Okay.
as it was going to happen, because I knew by the time my eye recognized seeing the takeoff, then find it in the viewfinder, focus on it, it's going to be too far gone.
Yeah.
So I just like sat there, just waiting. And then as soon as it came through, I don't even know if I had my eye in the viewfinder, honestly. Maybe I
Yeah.
did, but I know for sure I didn't focus. I had focus locked.
Yeah.
And then all I had to do was just hold the shutter down and fire off like, I don't know, 3 or 4 frames.
Nice.
Got a little ant following our
Yeah.
monitor here. And so that's how I got this shot, and I was so happy. You know, I loved how it turned out. The wing position was great.
It is great.
I had 2 frames with good wing position. The other one was closer to the trees. This one was more out in the open. And I was making sure to include those big kind of tropical leaves on the left-hand side.
Nice, yeah.
And I was also making sure to compose leaving the lake down here in the bottom with the mountains and the sky and all that. So all of that was important to me in that composition. And so I basically just had my composition held.
Right, and just
then waited for a bird to go through.
Yeah,
that was it, you
Perfect.
know? And so it seems like it might be like a challenging thing to shoot and get focused and composed, but it's, you know, when you think about it that way, it actually was relatively easy. Like you're basically
waiting
just like
for the moment for the bird to come by.
All I had to do was fly. And it thankfully flew in a really good position,
yeah,
you know?
It did.
So anyway, that was how that shot came about. We took a selfie to wrap up the end of the trip, and then that was it. Yeah. So
cool.
Thanks for joining us. I know this was a longer
Super long one.
We had a lot to talk about. It was a lot of shooting.
2 weeks and almost every day. I mean, I was gone for 5 days, but.
Yep. Yeah. But every day we were there, we were out with the cameras, walking around, hiking around, trying to shoot. It's kind of good. Probably some of those days weren't like super productive because we have so many photos. We already had enough as it is.
It's too many.
Yeah.
Too many.
But it's interesting. I feel like we shot way more. This was a much more photography focused trip than last year.
But didn't keep as many. Well, you actually kept more than last year, right?
No,
About
I kept
the
less.
same. Oh, you kept less.
A little bit less this year than last year.
Yeah.
But
I didn't go through mine from last year yet, but I went through the ones from this year.
We're also a week shorter.
From this show.
You know? Yeah, you did. Yeah. Yeah, you went through everything. So it's some motivation for you, huh?
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Our next episode, I think we're just going to be hanging around here in Florida. We're actually going to be meeting up with Brad James in person, which is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
He's actually, I don't know if he's on his way today or tomorrow.
I think tomorrow morning early.
On his way down to Florida here.
Yeah.
Which is going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we're going to be up to. Oh, we're going to try and hit some burrowing owls. They're right around the corner here.
Yeah.
Here's another part of the travels. We've been here for a few days.
Yeah.
Kind of stuck, but also it's nice. We wanted to recuperate, but we got a tire that just has an issue we need to get replaced, so we're not really moving the van until the shop has the tire in, and we're going to go get it replaced, hopefully today. But that's part of this lifestyle.
On the road.
It really is, you know. Anytime anything goes wrong, we lose our transportation and our home as far as mobility.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
Like,
right
thankfully,
now,
there's nothing wrong with the
fine.
home, so we don't need to give that in to get it repaired, so we're doing fine living in it. But that's how it goes, you know. So that's life on the road, but we still do love it.
Yes.
We really do. We get to be in places like this.
It's pretty great. Beachfront.
Yeah, it sure
Can't
is.
complain.
So thank you so much for watching.
Thank
we'll see you all on the next one.